Well, I picked these books, and you're already laughing because I've told this joke once. Because I thought, Flex Mentallo, muscles, fun. And then I thought, Grant Morrison, Now I've read the book and I've thought, Grant Morrison,
You did it to yourself, Dan. You did it to yourself. No one picked this but you.
Yeah. I mean, look, hot take, this is terrible.
No, it's great. I'm enjoying it. I love it when we get to read something fun and interesting and wild such as this, because I know that you so great.
I would tell the history of comics in a way different way than this is telling it.
Oh my gosh, no, this is I love it. Each and every moment, every single page, every single panel, every dialogue box.
Okay, so I don't hate all of it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Oh, but it does.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. And they made fun of the Legion of Superheroes now. So now I'm really pissed off.
They didn't make fun of them. They just kind of talked about them.
They made fun of them.
We'll get there.
We're there now.
Welcome
to
now.
20 Books Forensics. That's great. I'm in. We're talking about Flex Mentallo #2. And a Grant Morrison and Frank. Is it Quietly? I keep saying quietly in my brain.
I think
it's Quietly, right?
I think it's Frank.
Or is it Quitly?
That's a good question.
Have you ever sat next to him at a show and so you know how to pronounce his name?
No, I have not.
Okay. It does say Britain's top comic team, which I think is a direct shot at the Sandman creative team.
Oh.
Because, they're bringing the Sandman monthly book back. It tells us that during this.
Timely.
Yeah, it seems like a shot at Neil Gaiman, right? I mean...
Timely.
Or is it a shot at The Dark Knight Returns? No, they do that next issue. Sorry, that's next issue.
Next issue.
I mean, well, it's a comic. Greg and I have discussed this already. I am not going to try to go through this page by page. I know I'll go through it page by page, but I'm not going to trouble anything here. This is
last episode. We went through
we talked for an hour and a half,
page by page. This issue, we're going to truncate it a bit and just kind of discuss.
Yeah, I think like one of my problems is like right off the bat, I'm going to give away a little bit of the book, right? This is supposed to be some sort of critique of the Silver Age of comics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except they immediately start talking about the Bronze Age right off.
You have to talk about the Bronze Age to get to the Silver Age, Dan.
Or did we just not delineate those two in this time period?
I don't think we delineated those two.
In 1996 was the 70s considered the Bronze Age? I think the 70s was considered not the Silver Age. I mean, I always understood the Silver Age going away mostly with like Dave Cockrum, right? And doing DC and X-Men, and then also obviously with the evolution of the drug comics, right? When you had the Green Lantern, Green Arrow in Spider-Man, it just seemed to delineate the Silver Age or the Bronze Age from the Silver Age, and we've talked about that on past episodes. Yeah. He does make fun of fans in this book, saying, "Well, fans call it the blah 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 age." Well, don't make fun of us. Yeah, that's what it's called. Whether it's fans or a classification system, that's fine. I don't know. This book makes my head hurt.
Maybe it's supposed to. You're going on a journey, a trip, if you will.
That's not enjoyable.
But is it not, or is it?
I don't need to go to school every time I read a comic. Read a comic book.
But that's what I thought we were here to do.
Oh God. Okay. Fine.
I know it is a lot to digest. The book itself is a lot, and I think that's what Grant Morrison is. He's trying to compact into these few issues so much, and it's such a deep
Well,
process.
we also get like references to a lot of either Bronze Age or even modern age stuff in this book.
Mhm.
It's and I know we've reclassified, so I'm going to make fun of my own self, right? Because I just made fun because I used to always call them modern age. I know the 80s have a different name now, but it okay. Well, let's jump in. I don't know. I feel so down after reading these books. That's just
Well, I mean, I think you kind of should because the
they're
narrator
depressing.
the narrator of the book kind of brings you there.
Is it drug addict, dying drug addict? I mean,
Yeah.
who's thinking all these things? Yeah, it's weird too because let's go back to the introduction of the Flex Mentallo character. We mentioned like living on the Danny the street, fighting the men from nowhere, and then all of a sudden now he is a heteromasculine figment of somebody whose imagination who's dying, right? Uh, okay, well the cover's cool.
Oh yeah. It's a space cover. It's like it's out of this world, man.
It's very Silver Age. I mean, very much represents the expansion, even of superhero comics into space. I mean, that's been critiqued so many times. It's ridiculous. But you think Batman flying into space with his bat spaceship, and even look at the Super Friends. It seemed like everybody could just go into space on
Mhm.
their own. You have aliens and you have the Silver Age, a lot of the Silver Age, especially the 50s, like Batman and the 60s Batman, they can't be Batman, right? It turns from the Golden Age serious Batman who had a gun to Batman fighting aliens, and you get the Batman 66 TV show eventually, right? I mean, that's just one example. There's so many examples of this. I mean, the Legion was ridiculous. They do poke fun at part of the Legion that, is easy to poke fun at in this book. Uh, One thing I will say about this book is more as I'm reading more of the critique, I do think there are some things that we have criticized lesser authors for picking apart. And I feel like in this book, if they're going to do a meta critique of the history of comics, don't take cheap shots. Like go for the meta critique. Right? There's a place in this book where they're making fun of the Legion of Superhero tryouts in the Silver Age book. That's been made fun of by everyone,
Yeah.
including every freaking crappy internet article that's out there. We covered an entire issue where one sort of an issue, but where they were, writing a whole meta critique of that already that came out before this book. I won't say the author's name, but Kurt Swan and Ty Templeton drew it. So
Yeah, yeah. I think with the internet articles, and this is just my hot take, just because I've gone through my own dealings with the shop, and a lot of internet articles revolve around the shop this week. But I think a lot of times internet articles are just copy and paste of an old article and then replacing a few keywords, and then it's the same article. It's just redone by someone else, and that's
well,
why it's
I
the
do
same
see a lot of
article.
that too. And yeah, that's why I get tired of top 10 worst heroes. Here's 3 Legion of Superheroes applicants. Worst things about the Silver Age. Oh, the Legion had tryouts. Ha ha ha. Well, yeah, I mean, it's the Silver Age. It's different storytelling.
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah, every time I see a top 10 article, I just want to punch someone. I should
It's
start writing them.
you could,
Top 10 reasons we hate Guy Gardner.
I
Top
mean,
30 reasons we hate Guy
you
Gardner.
could,
Top 100 reasons we hate Guy Gardner.
and then you'll start seeing your same article redone by 20 other people, and they'll
Stealing
just
my work,
they'll
yeah,
they'll
without
do
crediting me,
exactly
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened with the shop. And wrote a thing, and then it got redone by 4 different news outlets.
I would also, yeah, somebody asked me today, by the way, somebody asked me today how I felt like about the new Superman movie.
Yeah,
And I said, well, crypto,
yeah.
yay. And then I went on a 20-minute rant about Guy Gardner and Nathan Fillion. It's like to show what's happening in real life.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It was, well, maybe we should get into this book.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, let's get
avoiding
into
it.
it.
It's
Let's get
obvious
into
that
the
I'm
book.
avoiding it.
Let's get into the book that the astronaut is reading right now on the cover.
Got to do 2 more issues of this after
Yeah, we
this.
do. I'm excited, Dan, and you listeners should be excited too that you get to hear me be excited and Dan be, well, Dan.
Can I just tell you how happy I am? A colleague of mine, I recommended King Falls AM to,
Mhm.
and they had listened to all of it in like 3 weeks,
Oh, wow.
kind of like you did
Yeah.
when you listened to it.
Just shotgun
And
it.
they're to the last episode, the last 2
Oh,
episodes, but they don't
yeah.
want to listen to them because they don't want it to be over.
Don't want it to be over. I
Yeah.
probably might go back and re-listen to it again.
We get an ad for Sandman.
Mhm.
I hear that was good.
Mm.
Can I tell you how dumb I am?
Ooh.
I didn't know this is where Sam Keith got his big break.
Oh,
Should tell you how much Sandman I've read.
yeah.
That'd be none. Is
That's
it wrong
okay.
for me to admit this on the podcast?
No, that's fine. You can admit that. That's okay.
You've read a bit. I've
Mm, I
read
I
none bits.
yeah, but I mean, and yeah,
The thing is, when Sandman came out, neither of us were reading Vertigo, yeah,
yeah,
or anything. I mean, it wasn't even Vertigo yet, right?
yeah. No, it wasn't honestly until I uh had gone to Vancouver and my friend at the shop there had made some slight suggestions. So like on our way to D&D, he made a list, and then I went back to the shop with him the next day and pulled a bunch of books for me. So, and there I
Yeah,
was.
Sandman came out in 1989, so definitely, yeah. I was reading Legion and the Dark Legion, the new Legion, but I had not ventured into this, genre. I think if you would have recommended I think, and even if you'd recommended it to me 2 years later, right? I think I would have probably just said, it's a fantasy book. No thanks.
No thanks. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird that it's one of the things I've never gone back and read. Also, just random side note, I got a notification today. All 4 G.I. Joe
Oh yeah.
have shipped.
Omnibuy. Oh, the
Shipped.
all of them
They are on their way.
on their way. Go Joe.
I paid way too much
Go
for that.
Joe.
Anyway, um, I don't know why I'm saying, we get to the first page and I'm not going to read this, but if you'll recall, we had a narrator who is on a suicide hotline,
Mhm.
overdosing on
Everything.
painkillers,
He's on
presumably.
everything. He's on
He's on
painkillers, he's on
acid,
acid. He's on he's been
LSD.
smoking pot, he's been doing everything, hash.
Is acid and LSD the same thing?
Yes,
But mushrooms are different.
they are.
What happens if you take LSD and mushrooms at the same time?
I don't, think it would be a good idea. Not advisable.
That was a trap. And you stepped out of it.
Not advisable.
Well, anyway, he's
It's like Ann
he's
and I
trying
were
to
watching.
navigate the phone, and he's telling this sort of history of weird dreams he's had. One
Mhm.
of them where a whole bunch of little boys are pooping in an alley, and
Yeah.
where he's afraid of the things in the fishbowl.
Yeah. It's a very disturbing scene, the whole thing. It's
And then we flip to a page after the fact, part 2, My Beautiful Head, and we see Flex fighting what was the guys? It's the Kryptonite Man, but he can't call it Kryptonite, so it's
yeah.
called
Um
Mentalium Man.
Mentalo Man with his
And
multiple
we get
heads.
some. Here's my first critique of the book. Anyway, we find out it's part man, part robot. It's his rogues gallery. He's
It's
recounting
everything.
his discussion with the Fact and trying to find Faculty X, which I assume is the X-Men. And now he's going to try to find the Legion of Legions soon too.
Yes.
We flip the page and we get an ad for the least anti-trans Ace Ventura movie.
The
Ace
least
Ventura, When Nature Calls.
Yes, yes.
And we get an ad for The Invisibles by Grant Morrison. Can't wait for that one. I'm definitely going to be going back and reading that after this.
Mhm.
Then we whisk away from the battle with the Metallium guy, and we get a whole summary of dialogue about Flex thinking about Faculty X, Doomsday Clock ticking down to 0 hour. When did 0 hour happen in DC? Wasn't it 96?
I think so.
I'm looking for more things here every time I read this now.
Yeah,
I had to read this one twice.
I think
Maybe that's why I'm so bitter.
yeah, because it's little Easter eggs everywhere from different aspects of different comics in
Yeah.
every
No, it's 2 years after
dialogue.
0 hour, so that's probably very intentional.
Okay.
Doomsday Clock, obviously a reference to some book called Watchmen,
Mhm.
and we get another Watchmen reference in the book with the Heroes on the Moon
Yeah.
later on. So, not to spoil anything. We get Flex, and he's in it looks like the town made from the things in the fishbowl.
Yeah.
And a little boy asks him for his name, Wally Sage. Asks him for his autograph. And he says, Flexmentalo is in trouble. And then we get back to him fighting Mentalo Man. And okay, here we go. Here's my first annoyance, right? Critiquing all the different types of kryptonite is like one of the easiest shots at the Silver Age.
Mhm.
It is just one of the things that everybody attacks about the Silver Age. And we talked about this on a different podcast, but the pink kryptonite,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and immediately goes for that. Okay.
Yeah.
But here I didn't think it was funny.
Because
Like the Supergirl
it
issue
falls
when Peter
flat.
David actually introduces it and it's like Superman's winking at Jimmy and whatever. That's kind of cute and funny.
Mhm.
This is,
It just falls flat.
yeah. Yeah, there's all these different kinds of kryptonite. Okay, cool. Next page. Our guy is back in the alley. And the dogs are very angry
Oh, no.
about something.
Dogs are angry. This is no good. Can't have that. It's at least my dogs are quiet and not angry.
I
Because,
don't know why the dogs were yelling, but I think they're yelling at this book because it's so terrible.
oh,
Anyway, uh, we've got our guy dying here, and he refers to all the heroes looking down from their satellite headquarters, which is either a reference to the Justice League and their satellite or Crisis on Infinite Earths, because it looks more like that actually in the art to me.
kind of,
And all the
yeah.
heroes were gathered on the satellite.
got a Batman looking guy, got a bunch of different characters that look very much like analogs of everybody from Crisis.
Yeah, and that's fine. In
Yeah.
uh, the weird thing though is again, it's okay for the critique to jump around. Like that's totally fine. But I thought we
Mhm.
were critiquing the Silver Age, and we're well into like things that are 10 years before the book, as opposed to like 20 or 30, which that's fine.
You can be
Uh,
critiquing all of Comic Stan.
the narrator continues. The narrator, main character.
He's got main character energy, as the kids say.
Yeah, well, he's telling the people just to listen to him,
Just listen to me, man.
and he just wants to talk about comics. So, I mean, I get that. I think there's been times when I've just wanted to talk about comics and nobody else wants to.
I know.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. So
And
that's
if you've
fine.
downloaded this podcast, I'm sorry for you.
We are definitely talking about a comic. I'm going to talk about more comics. We get we get a reference to kind of putting away your toys in a Matchbox, but to Nano Man comics and Stellar comics.
Sometimes
And here's the part I will read. He says, "All
gotta get
alone in my
small.
bedroom, teaching myself to draw superheroes, listening to Radio Lichtenstein, changing from a child to a teenager." Do you know what Radio Lichtenstein is? Because that's clearly a reference to something, right?
Yeah.
It's not just Radio Free Europe reference, is it?
I don't know. I am not familiar.
Oh yeah, no, it's a real thing.
It's a real
Radio
thing?
Lichtenstein, often shortened to Radio L, is the public radio station of Liechtenstein.
Oh, okay.
It is the first and primary station to broadcast in Liechtenstein.
Mm.
The primary podcast is local news, world news, music, sports, events, and podcasts. Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
It is a real thing.
It's a real thing, folks.
So it was founded in 1995, though.
Interesting. So
And this was put out in 96. So is that an analog or now that can't be
he
right.
was making something up and it was actually real.
It became true.
It became true. Wow. That would be crazy if he like predicted
He's spanning the multiverse. Okay.
Yeah, he threw something out there and it became real.
Everything everywhere all at once.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Hot dog fingers for days.
Welcome to the Power Hour featuring your right royal ruler, Ken King.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, it could be true. Okay, wait. So I'm reading back in this wiki article. The station aims to showcase Liechtenstein culture, entertainment, and music, and other aspects of Liechtenstein. Its music style is described as adult contemporary with a mix of 70s and 80s songs. Sounds terrible.
Sounds great. Sounds exactly what I listen to on a daily basis.
Like Jack FM.
Kind of.
Does that even exist anymore?
Sure. Yeah, it does. It's on my radio in the car.
And of course it is.
Of course.
Bless your heart.
Why would it not be?
Because my radio defaults to 107.7 before I can plug in a podcast.
The Funky Monkey's not around anymore.
Fair. Well, anyway.
Where's somebody get my jams at?
We flip the page and we get a nuclear bomb scare reference, which is cool. And it looks like all the superheroes are now in a bomber overlooking the Earth.
Oh, man.
And this guy can't get anybody to listen to him about what's happening. And then we flip a page again. And we get to what's presumably the gentleman's area of a city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
it says gents on it. It says gents.
It does say
maybe
gents.
that's the bathroom.
Oh,
it's the bathroom. It's the bathroom. I get it.
Well, we do get into the bathroom too.
Yeah.
But now I don't see any women on the street. Do you?
Doesn't look like there's any women on the street.
Except we do have one in the bathroom, so that's fine. But we get a guy who's about to shoot up with something called Crystal, talking about how it's an imaginary story. That's an easy reference. All the Superman stories in the Silver Age that were not in their main line were called an imaginary story. So
Uh-huh.
you'd be like, what happens when Lois and Lane and Clark Kent are married and their kids grow up? An imaginary tale. Uh, so that was pretty common. That one was pretty easy to pick out.
Yeah.
But then you do a little inside critique of it and say, well, I heard it kills you, but they're referring to the crystal, but you're not going to listen to me. This is the real story. So back again, the narrator sort of trying to split with reality, right? There is another reference in here. This character looks strangely like somebody he references because at some point, I'm forgetting which page, but he says, I think it's this one. He says, I'm the last boy on earth.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what that's referencing?
I don't.
You don't. Come on.
I don't.
One of Jack Kirby's most famous, at least DC characters.
Oh, is it hold on a second. Hold on a second. No. No. No.
No.
No.
Commandy, the last boy on earth.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he does kind of look like
You know who Commandy's grandfather was in the Jack Kirby verse?
no.
One person named Buddy Blank.
Oh. Tell me more.
Well, we did like 6 podcasts on it
6.
or so. Because when Buddy Blank gets zapped by a special satellite, he transforms.
Oh my gosh. No. No. OMAC?
Yeah.
No. That's wild.
Killing me here. Well, anyway.
Well, I was
The,
almost going to say, I almost was thinking it was OMAC. I was close. I almost said OMAC. I was
yeah,
that close. I was that close, people. If I'd
so this
said
guy,
OMAC, Dan would have said, no, you're wrong.
no, I was said, no, you're right.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he says, sometimes I feel so low like the last boy on earth.
OMAC.
I don't want it real no more. So, yeah, and this he looks like Commandy.
He looks like Kurt
grown-up
Cobain.
Commandy.
Like a grown-up Commandy. Or Cobain.
So we get an advertisement for Saint of Killers, a preacher special. We get an advertisement for The 21st Century is Here, Matrix by DC Comics, which, by the way, we'll have to tell this story someday because that never happens.
Yeah. I'm sitting there looking at all this stuff and I'm like, they all sound awesome. But
Yeah, like an ongoing series by Howard Chaykin. Like, that sounds amazing. Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure what happened here. We may have to
Dive into.
We may have to phone a friend on this one.
Yeah, because it all sound like all of these sound interesting. They all sound interesting.
Well, we'll find out next episode, so I'm not going to spoil it. It actually doesn't come out under the Matrix label. It comes out under a different label. I'm not exactly sure why. I just looked it up. Cyberella runs 12 issues. And that's it. So there's your imprint right there.
Okay. More to come.
Well, our Tiffany leaves the restroom and heads up the stairs and runs into Flex. And Flex asks her, or she asks Flex if he's looking for some hot action, and he says that the only woman he loved died, a victim of the war against something.
Something.
He's not really sure. And once she finds out that she can't get anything from him, she sends him down to take care of her friend who's dying, presumably.
Mhm.
And Druggy Commandy says, "You can't kill what's already dead." And then looks very commandy
Mhm.
as the blonde hair comes back out and everything. And then he says, "I just remembered how to turn on my solo vision." Do you know what that's referencing? Because I didn't get that.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, he's become cosmically aware, so it's like one hell of a drug-induced coma.
Whoa.
And then we get back inside, and they're all like, "His solo vision burned me." And Flex is going to get him to a hospital, and then Flex remembers, or well, we're not quite there yet. So, he's in his drug-induced coma, and he remembers he can see a sky full of them, and he looks up and sees the Legion of Legions flying through the sky.
Yeah.
Lots of superheroes.
Lots of them.
I guess this is
Everywhere.
sort of the author's mind expansion, like imagining all these cool things they could create.
Maybe.
And then we flip the page, and one of my favorite things that happens about this book is we get an advertisement for Aztec.
Mhm.
And why is this important?
I don't know, Dan. Tell me.
Well, Greg, Aztec was an amazing product.
The car? Yeah, I thought it was really cool looking. I mean, I couldn't believe Pontiac put out such a cool looking car. You could put a tent on the back and camp in it. So neat.
Yeah, I'm happy because Aztec was created by Grant Morrison and Mark Miller. And just in our discussion of this book and how
Mhm.
much I appreciate reading it,
Yeah.
Aztec was Aztec the Ultimate Man, Volume 1 lasted a whole 10 issues of cool. And Grant Morrison kills Aztec off in his Justice League run.
I see. So,
Created in 1996, death in
97?
2000.
2000? Wow.
Yeah.
10 issues.
So, yeah. Apparently people thought this hero was amazing. I mean, with that outfit I would say that perhaps the people that created the Pontiac Aztec used this costume
Uh-huh.
as the inspiration for the design.
I would say probably. I mean, it looks very similar.
Yeah. He is the one who waits.
He is the one who waits.
He
And
is the one who waits.
if you drive an Aztec, you'll be the one who's waiting too.
That's fair. He is the one who waits. Do you think that's Walter White under the costume?
It could be. It's his alter ego.
The Aztec?
Yeah, when when he's not cooking meth with Jesse, he's like dreaming about being a superhero, and
I am the
he dons
Aztec.
this costume, and he's like, "I'm the Aztec. I'm the one who waits."
I mean,
But
like,
it's funny
what
because
kind
he's
of
not. But he's like waiting tables, but in this costume.
the Aztec is only the kind of convoluted superhero that the minds of Grant Morrison and Mark Miller could combine to create, right? He has a helmet with vision-related powers.
Mhm.
Is he seriously stealing Peacemaker's gimmick? Come
Yeah,
on.
it is.
What the hell? Of all the
I
gimmicks in comics you were going to go for to steal, especially at this time,
uh-huh.
stealing Peacemaker's gimmick.
Let's
Um,
let's take a
it also
peacemaker
is a
gimmick.
mini Cerebro, apparently.
Mhm.
And it says, hang on, I got to read this.
Okay, read it.
Helmet. 1. Helmet provides vision related powers, enhanced mental abilities. Looks cool. No, it
No,
doesn't.
it doesn't look
No,
cool. It
it is
looks like he's
not.
wearing a starfish on his head.
Oh, well, maybe that's his problem. He went against Starro and got it stuck to his head.
And a star on his face.
Number 2, Magic mirror, not just an emblem, it's an occult power source on his chest. Number
Okay.
3, the city, built on a rich man's whim. What dark secret does it hold? Capitalism, defeated by the Aztec. 4, costume, loaded with weaponry. Oh, and it has big gauntlets and big feet gauntlets and pockets. I don't see I don't see any pockets, but I see a belt. It's a
Yeah, he's got.
90s costume, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And 5, a gargoyle. Weird. It says meeting with Destiny this June, and that Destiny would be a 10-issue run.
Hmm. Well, I mean, in the '90s, gargoyles were cool because all the kids in the '90s love gargoyles, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
only if you were an ex Star Trek Next Generation actor and you needed voice work.
that's true. But I mean, I can't wait till the live action comes out.
Live action gargoyles.
I mean, I'm hoping, or I mean, maybe they'll make a really cool animation and like a like live action animation. I don't know. My fingers are crossed.
Well, we also get an house ad for Paradox Press is 100% true,
See, now that's something I would have read.
but you didn't.
I didn't, but it's something I would have picked up if I saw it because it looks cool.
Well, we flipped a page in his drug-addled state. The commandee says they loved us. They always loved us. They've come to save us all. They're going to take me with them. Because commandee always wanted to be a hero, right? I guess. And then Flex is like, hey, this man gave me a piece of paper with a magic word on it. But he can't find it. And the guy
What?
falls into piss and dies.
That sucks.
Now, I do think it's interesting because if this is a critique of the Silver Age that spans a little bit further, but Shazam gets brought back in the 70s, right? As Shazam, not Captain Marvel. But,
Yeah.
once DC sues Fawcett Comics into oblivion, Captain Marvel does disappear. It's almost like the magic word was gone. So,
Mhm.
okay. Am I trying to look at this too literally? Is this my problem?
Maybe. I mean, maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. I mean, listeners, you tell us if you think Dan is looking at too literally.
Listeners,
Um,
please read this so you can enjoy this just like I am.
I
Like,
mean,
it is fantastic.
I think honestly, like I I personally, I mean, at this point in the book, I'm personally enjoying all the subtle references or not too subtle references to things. And when Dan points out the things that I don't understand, I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, that makes sense. But for the things that I do pick up on, and I'm sure if you're a listener and you go back and you're like, hey, I'm going to give it a read too, you're going to say, oh, wow, yeah, no, that's pretty interesting, pretty neat, along with the artwork
Well,
and other stuff. Huh?
well,
What?
somebody's going to know more of these references than us too. Like we
Yeah,
have fans of the show that know more about comics than we do,
this
and
is
that's
true.
fine.
Yeah.
But we flip the page and we get the hard sell.
Uh,
Now we get the narrator. I've got a theory about comics, right? It all started back in the 30s and 40s. Yeah, they call it the Golden Age. Collectors, I'm talking about. It was pretty simple then. Muscle men in costumes, idealized masculine figures, the Charles Atlas hardbody, homoerotic wish fulfillment. Then came the Silver Age when superheroes were reinvented, and that's when it started to go a bit weird. Strange transformations, multiple realities, dreams, hoaxes. It was like the hard body began to turn soft, the masculine heroes becoming fluid, feminine, always changing shape, and all that stuff was like a sad like a prophecy of the arrival of LSD on the streets of America. The comic writers and artists intuited the social transformation of their work.
it's crazy that he got a picture of Robbie Williams in there holding a banana. I'm like, I knew he put that in there just for you, Dan, because he's singing that song in your head that you love so much. Your favorite song. And
I
that's why
hate
you want
you.
to go see that movie where he's a monkey
I hate you.
talking about his life story.
Oh God. All right. Well, we
I
flipped the
got
page.
tickets. I got tickets for us to go see that.
No, you didn't.
I did. You're like, you're
You're kidding.
questioning it because is it real or is it not real? I mean, it's Robbie Williams.
I mean, I can get us tickets to go see Fuel and Lit. at
Eh. Yeah.
what?
I'm too old
You
for
do it
that. I'm too old.
in your hands.
What?
It's in your hands again.
Do I?
Bleed out.
Oh man.
It's feel, man.
I know. It is.
What? Or were you just wondering where your car was? Is it in the front yard? Did you come in through the window?
I did.
Oh,
Exactly.
well, tell me why.
Oh my god.
What?
I have
You
it's
know the
it's
songs.
yes, no, it's the irony is I have the CD in the car.
Well, it's on a Wednesday night in the middle of February, a week ago.
Ah, it's
Yep, I'll get us tickets.
the
Yep,
ironic
there we
part.
go.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, I'll be getting us tickets.
Oh no.
Fine, I'll take your wife. Anyway, so
She'd be like,
uh, so we're back, uh, and there. Now here's something too. I do like this. Well, I don't, like is a strong word. We get some more satire, and comic books were definitely a form of escapism. I think definitely for me, probably still a form of escapism. I'm not going to say that I haven't read a whole bunch of comic books as I'm doing some transitionary life planning recently, because sometimes it's more fun to read comics and clean my office. And comics are fun.
yeah,
But at the end of his life, this man is concerned that we're back to our narrator, not Commandy.
yeah, yes,
That asking, just making the challenge. Why didn't superheroes save us from the fucking bomb? And,
yeah,
it was always tough. In the golden age, you couldn't really write a comic where the superheroes saved you from Hitler, right? Because Hitler was real and the Nazis were attacking the world. And if you have how did you dance around it, And when they did try it in the Superman Quest for Peace, that went well.
mhm. Yeah. It's trying to
Superman
throw
just wakes
nuclear
up and
weapons through
decides
the
to
sun.
destroy all the bombs.
Yeah.
And, and then later versions of Superman, it's interesting because like Quest for Peace was not well received, but they have had later versions of Superman do that, but he's always evil when he does it, right?
Mhm.
Like they just actually did a movie adaptation of the video game. What is wrong with my brain in the middle of the podcast? Why is it freezing? Injustice. And
Oh
in
yeah.
that version, yeah, Superman goes and forces peace on everyone and destroys everybody's weapons, and he's evil when he does it, right? Yeah. Why? I mean, I do contemplate this. This is a fair contemplation, right? Why are you evil if you're stopping war
I think it's
and
because
stopping the military industrial complex?
I think it's because of the idea that Superman's using his power to take away free will.
Yeah, free will to murder each other doesn't sound like it's such a great thing.
It's what makes people human. I hate to argue it that way, but it's
And
it's an
maybe we
arguable
should
point.
reconceptualize that. I feel like I could give more people free will if they didn't have the mass weapons to murder people, and they would actually ascend to a higher level of thinking.
Give me a three play.
You wouldn't be
Give me a
living in
three
a
plank
fear state.
plan.
The what?
Give me a three plank plan.
I don't have a solution here. I don't
Justification.
have Superman to go destroy him for me.
Well, that's my plan. Is Superman's going to destroy all the weapons and force peace.
Well,
I win.
and now he's getting even more. Why didn't the comics stop mom and dad from fighting? Yeah, this part gets really dark. Who was in the wash house with me? I feel sick. Is that the pills I took? I'm dying now. So he switches back from telling that story, and it feels like he's holding the hands of the aliens he doesn't like. Well, we flipped the page, and now we're totally back into a Flex Mentallo comic again.
Yeah.
And Flex is at a bar, and he's trying to find the fact again. Not the
He's
question.
on a hunt.
The fact.
The fact.
Not the spirit. The fact. And
The
he's trying to
fact.
find the fact. And the bartender is basically giving him the complete runaround. And here's where we get one more dig at the Legion of Superheroes, because Morale Kitten has come, who's tattooed her entire body to look like a cat so she can join the Legion of Legions and try out for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then she seems to maybe know where the fact is, but she's really hyped about the ultimate super team with Lord Limbo, the Gentleman Gorilla, Rex Ritz, and Sparkly, the Glamour Boy. It, you know,
Yeah.
when you're several minutes into a shitty comedy routine and it still hasn't hit,
Yeah.
that's where we're at right now in this book. Because like the meta analysis is okay, but none of the jokes are funny.
It's like a video that you can't skip.
Yeah. And like this like this veiled attempt, like I've seen better done mock-ups of Legion tryouts than this for sure. And
I like her
again,
hair.
my argument with Grant Morrison is that this is the same way I feel about a lot of things in academia. I'm clearly just not smart enough to get it. If I was just smarter, this would be funny and it would make sense.
I don't think so. Well, you're very smart, Dan, and I don't
If
think
I
that's
just got postmodernism, I would be cool.
I don't think that's the case. I think it's just that it's a fire hose effect. It's just so much stuff that there's no way anyone is going to take it all in. It's a
Well, we flipped a page to get even more. We meet an astronaut on one of the last Apollo missions. He's now a drunk, and when nobody cared about the Apollo missions, and he says he was at the moon. Oh, and we flip the page, and we get an ad for click here, experience the new DC Comics Online on America Online, where
let's do
you
it.
could chat with the likes of Chuck Dixon and Ron Mars,
Oh
Mark
my god.
Waid, Alex Ross, Dan Raspler, James Robinson, Grant Morrison,
Whoa.
Chuck Dixon again. I
My.
mean,
2
can
times?
we go back in time so I can chat with these folks on America Online that I
Mhm.
couldn't afford back then?
Yeah.
Well,
I
now we
I
get
w
an interlude in the
actually would
form
have
of a
been
letters page.
on my mom's
Um,
American Online more often.
yeah, you would have. Well, we get an interlude with the form of a letters page. In this case, this is where they'd be giving you the real history of a hero or something, like when they were relaunching a book. In this case, we get a completely fictional version of Flex, and we find out that Flex was created by. I have so many. This page, I think why I came into the podcast with a bad attitude was this page right here,
Okay.
because we get two main characters here in the page that created Flex. We've got Chuck the Chief Fiasco, who is the veteran artist who created him. And we get the ambiguously gay owner of the comic company that's trying to originally creating homoerotic art, and then it blossoms, pun intended, into a comics line because I guess all of the GIs are secretly gay and want to read these things. Uh, I okay.
Yeah, it could
I
leave a sour taste in your mouth to
I
after reading this, you're
I
like,
was
"Eh."
yeah. I'm like awesome. I mean, I get it. I don't know. Again, I was thinking of things. I mean, early on, we did the Heavens to Murgatroyd books, right?
Yeah,
That was really good. This
right?
is, this seems like a cheap attempt to make something funny that's not. Like,
Yeah.
it's just really sad. And maybe if it wasn't supposed to be funny, that's fine. But I found it to be really sad. Like, as we learn, eventually, the gay man goes crazy, of course, because gay men can't function in any sort of capacity, because that's how this is written, and this was pretty stereotypical of the time. This is like an Alice in Wonderland type gay scenario where the gay man can't function off his pedestal, right? Like, as soon as he tries to do something, and Anyway, the gay man gets into publishing. His comics become, he goes crazy. They introduced lines of heroes called Lady Liberty. How do you like this one? The Jap Smasher. That was fantastic. Yankee Poodle, Andy, and the Fighting Skull. So let's just make it even worse in here. And then Chuck Fiasco says he was drunk and stoned all the time, gambling all his money. Eventually, he says that the Ashley Dubois, the publisher, he never says is gay, but is clearly gay by everything they allude to, goes crazy and thinks the Nazis are going to win. And so they publish, instead of being sued by DC Comics out of existence like Fawcett was, they publish comics where the Jap Smasher is tortured and becomes Superhero, Hiro. Yeah. And I assume this is written for shock value.
Probably.
It's like the bad comedy act doesn't work, and now we're throwing abject, racism into it.
Yeah, it's very Howard Stern.
So now we've got the gay stereotype, and we've got racial slurs and racism. Let's just throw it all into one page here. This is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyway, they released some comics that implied that the Axis won. Those comics were shipped, apparently, and couldn't be pulled back when the Allies won. So the company goes out of business. They get put on trial for treason. And Ashley Dubois dies in a gay sex dungeon. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. I think you summed it up.
What?
Yeah, I know. It is a horrific thing to put in a book. Again, where's the editor? Like what?
Well, we flipped the page Astronaut sees the Watchman on the moon.
Oh, hey, yeah.
And then he's like, nobody believes me. Superheroes exist. And then Flex runs into Superman as they leave the bar. I mean, Clark Kent. And oh God. Why am I still doing this book?
Because
is it because I'm a completist?
Yes.
I mean, this is like eating milk.
Man, that's cheese.
No, I wasn't thinking of the cheese. I was thinking of the nasty, chunky, old shit milk that's in your fridge that when you think it's so good and you take a sip and there's like crunchy bits in it. That's what this is like.
Like the time when I was in college and my college girlfriend made chocolate chip cookies and we didn't have any milk. So I went to the store to go get milk and I just grabbed the first milk that I saw. And I got home and poured myself a glass to have with the cookies. And I was like, awesome. And I dunked the cookie and pulled it out. And it was the thickest milk I ever saw. But I went for it anyways and didn't realize that I had bought buttermilk and threw the cookie in my mouth.
Oh,
and
God.
washed it down with cup of milk. Like, oh, crap.
I mean, that went better than I thought it was going to go. But
oh, yeah, no. Yeah. Adam comes in. He's like, what did you do? And I'm just like half pukey. And it was just like, and he looks and he was like, you're drinking buttermilk. You're disgusting.
Do they even sell buttermilk at the store anymore?
I mean, I don't know. It was the 90s, but yeah, it was gross.
Well, anyway, we get to the next page after he leaves the bar, and there's a man outside the bar who looks like the Question. As the face.
Yeah.
But not the fact.
Not the fact. That's a
and
fact, Jack.
He tosses 7 silver coins into his hand. I wonder what that's a reference to. And he calls, I make up the 7. They didn't say 7 silver coins, but he says, what happened to your face? And he says, I sold it for secret knowledge. See the Question. Men call me the Mystery Pilgrim.
No.
Well, they used to, anyhow, and now they just call me asshole if they can get call me anything at all. I guess I was just lost my way in the dark. But he says, "You're almost there, Flex. You're a couple blocks from the fact." And he says, if you get there, it's a teleport tube that leads to Satellite HQ, Faculty X, and Legion of Legions. So maybe we'll get to go see the satellite.
Oh, hey, a teleport tube, like a boom tube?
Yeah,
All right. I
kaboom.
like kaboom.
And yeah. And then we get back to our boy in the alley.
Not doing good.
And he looks like he's not doing so well.
No, he is not right.
And he basically says he's collapsing into it and it's taking him to hell. And we get next issue, Crisis on Earth Omega.
Oh boy.
We flipped the page. We've got some advertisements for some Vertigo books that are all much better than this one. Just by default, literal default. I have no idea. Oh, except probably The Invisibles, which is written by Grant Morrison. And we get an ad for Good and Cocky. Some wonderful albums that I've never heard of.
You never heard of Tracy Bonham?
I've heard of Tracy Bonham, but I've not heard of this album.
Oh. Pulp?
And yeah, there we go. So that's it. Well, it was a comic book with references to things.
I'm just glad that I didn't pick this. This is great. And a listener didn't pick this. Dan picked it. Everyone, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, listener, I definitely think that maybe we need a like Godzilla and King Kong palette cleanser soon.
Something. Oh my gosh. This is,
And there are 2 more issues of this.
it's wild. I don't know. I mean, like, if anything, I mean, it's an interesting retrospective of comics history. It's the artwork is very magnificent. These are the things I have to say. Confusing as hell, and problematic in places.
Slightly problematic.
There's and it has it's like, you ever listen to an
If I
Afghan
just
Wigs? You ever listen to an Afghan Wigs album? It
no.
sounds really good, and then you listen to the lyrics, and it just makes you sad.
Yeah, I think this book makes me sad. I would say that you should read it. And look, if you like the episodes where I hate everything about the comic, well,
Mhm.
you are in luck. Yeah, you're here.
You're here.
I will definitely get to the next issue. Hopefully, I won't hate everything in that issue. I did read a little bit of it, and I don't hate everything so far.
Oh, that's
So there's a start. Uh, I mean, but they have a Dark Knight's Returns cover on the next issue. So
I mean, everything can't be stuff that you love. I mean, it's comics are life, and if it's if comics are a representation of life in some way, it can't always be what you love. It can't be always like, it can't be perfect all the time.
you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes,
You get what you need.
well,
Eh?
I didn't get
Eh?
what I loved or needed in this book. So
Oh yeah, you did. You just didn't know it yet, Dan. You didn't know it. If you look inside yourself, that's where the bright shines. I don't know. You're like, I'm done. Shut up.
yep. I mean, I'm done with this book. So
I mean, you're done with this issue.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm done with this year, right? We had to do more of the book.
Yeah.
Uh, All right, so quiz question
Okay.
for you.
Okay.
We brought up Mark Miller. What's the best thing he wrote for DC? There aren't very many things he wrote for DC, so this should be really easy.
Hello there. I couldn't tell you.
Red Sun.
Didn't read it.
What?
Didn't read it.
We ever have to do Mark Miller, that's what we'll be reading.
All right, that's fair because
Do you know the premise for it?
it's Russian Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, but I didn't read it. I know what the book is, but I didn't read it. I've read one, maybe two of his things.
You don't like him, do you?
I don't. It's not that I don't like him. I just I read a lot of other things.
That's
a fair assessment.
fair. Did you know that Grant Morrison created Damian Wayne?
I did not know that.
Well, there you go.
We'll have to read some of that.
Mm.
No, you don't want to. You don't want to watch him jump into a well of sadness and try to.
I'm just gonna keep saying what he says until the end of the show. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that wraps up a fun and joyful episode of Funny Book Forensics, where you got to experience the abject joy of this comic.
Oh, yes.
And we can't wait to bring you back again and again and again for more of it.
Yes. Excitement. I'm excited.
Let love bleed out in your hands. In your hands.
In your hands. Yeah. My car's in the backyard. I climbed in through the window.
And found this book.
Why are my clothes off?
It's a good question. Why am I pooping in an alley? So
because an alien's holding my hand.
Well, whatever happened to our sidekick gang anyway?
I don't know. They disappeared.
I was expecting them to show up this issue.
I was expecting them to. I think they're just a one-time deal, unless they show up to help Flex later in the story. Maybe. Dun dun dun. Who knows? More to come.
Oh, and by the way, I'm going to apologize for the last two episodes. Apparently, I'm ignorant, but if I misgendered Grant Morrison, I apologize in any of the two episodes.
No.
Because they prefer they, them. So
They, them. Okay.
I probably screwed up, and I apologize because I didn't know. So I just pulled up an article about it, and I will adjust that moving forward.
Fair.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I am good.
Well, Greg is the author of multiple books. One is Absolute Zero's Camp Launchpad. You can buy that now.
You can.
It's about kids who go to the third best space camp.
It is a pretty fantastic camp. Probably the worst, but for them, it's the best.
And that's fun. And you should read it. And you could also go get Junior Braves of the Apocalypse because it's still fun.
If you like kids fighting zombies, who doesn't?
You can go buy issues of Starlight, which the Kickstarter is done. So you could go buy them on Amazon even if you wanted the PDFs.
Yeah. Is it there?
I think so.
Oh, wow. See, these are things that I'm unaware of.
I don't know. You want me to look live while you plug some other stuff? Got anything else to plug?
I don't think I have anything else to plug. I mean, just that, and then the upcoming episode of the Grind Bin that's getting released shortly with Michael Tanner of Absolute Zeros and Junior Braids of the Apocalypse. But yeah.
Starlight issue 3 by
Oh,
Travis
hey.
Webb and Greg Smith. Kindle price $5.
Hey, Amazon famous.
Yeah.
Get it
Well, I
free.
just couldn't talk about it on Amazon for a while, and I forgot.
Okay.
Only 5 of them are here, so I'm
Well,
not sure why.
probably because we could only upload, or like they were only able to put so many up.
Or Travis just got bored and forgot to put the other 3 or 2 up.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll talk to Travis.
You can
But
buy all 5 for $22.99, but wouldn't it be better if you could buy all 7?
I mean, it would be better, but who doesn't like an adventure?
Who doesn't like ending on the happiest book of the series, number 5?
That's right. Number 5.
Well, I would say if you love this podcast, you could also hear me talk about losing lots of weight and being buff on Abs at 50 with Jiu-Jitsu Warrior Paul. And
Hey.
Greg,
What?
you're healthy now.
I haven't been there yet. I mean, I am.
I see. Greg, when are you coming for your fitness assessment next Tuesday?
My fitness assessment next Tuesday.
Or next Monday? Oh, you are off next Monday.
I am not off next Monday. We don't get
Everyone is
Mondays
off
off.
next Monday.
But we are not.
Well, you're going to have to just take Monday off.
I can't. I've already taken tomorrow off to take Baba to the doctor.
Well, it's time for you to come down after you finish work on that Monday.
We'll see. He's trying to guilt me, people. He's trying to guilt me into this.
I'm not guilting you. I'm making you uphold your commitment.
Trying to make me uphold this commitment to be on his quest for.
You don't have to be on my quest. You need to be on your quest. That's what this is all about. If you don't want to be on a quest, then it's fine.
I'm on a quest.
You know what? Your quest in the future can be to digest Grant Morrison comics. I can give you a whole bunch.
Okay.
And my quest will be Abs at 50.
Abs at 50.
So, well, I'll be doing an update this week. Mr. Paul is out of town at the Kyotera Jiu-Jitsu week-long something where all the Kyotera affiliates go to San Jose and all try to break each other's legs and necks.
Oh, wow. Is it like the big Cobra Kai fight, but for jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's it.
Okay.
So he's there, and so we probably won't record this week, but I will promise a status update.
Okay.
So if you pay attention to the Abs at 50 YouTube channel, you can get a status update on where I'm at.
Where is Dan?
And cool, you'll know because I'll be there. Did you know that your comic on Amazon, Starlight, says the reading age is 15 to 18 years old?
I did not know that. That's not, that is, it should be 18 to, or yeah, it should be, it's an adult comic.
You may want to have one Travis Webb adjust.
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, Travis.
The thing I find mid podcast that stress you out, which
I am
always
stressed.
Hmm.
Starlight, not a children's book. That's, yeah. So many children coming up trying to buy Starlight for me at comic conventions. And I'm like, not a kid's book, parents. Please have them put that back.
You're like, no.
No.
These ones right here, you can read. This one,
all these over here. This is not a children's book. The cover looks like a kid's book. It's not a kid's book.
It's not a kid's book. Well, all right. I am done.
All right. Me too, I guess.
We will come back next week. Maybe we will do episode issue 3 and 4 one episode because, wow, I want to be moving on to happier times.
It'll be like at 4 times speed.
Yeah.
He's doing 4 pages at a time, people. And this happened. change. Okay, and this happened. Bah, 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 bah. Yeah. You're like, no.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
All right. Let's end this. I
All
will.
right.
I will be back with Greg next week. Bye.